Good morning, everyone. Hello, class 7. Mm, we were discussing about the chapter light, and today in this session, we are just continuing the next. We are going to proceed the next. Earlier, we have discussed the shadows, okay, and we have discussed about the shadows, how shadows are formed, and what are the characteristics of shadows, how the formation of a shadow is there. So, on that basis, okay, on that basis, we are just going to discuss today is the eclipse. Okay, eclipse. That is, eclipses are a natural phenomena. Natural phenomena means it is occurred by the nature. Okay, by our heavenly bodies. Okay, you can see here eclipses, and we have also discussed about the umbra and penumbra. Okay, umbra is the darkest part. Okay, umbra is the darkest part of any object. But what about penumbra? Penumbra is a, we can say that when the source of light is just extended, or we can say that a source of light is just increased. Okay, then what happens? The two images are formed. One is the darkest image, or we can say that not image, we can say that a darkest shadow, and another is the region which surrounds the darkest part of the shadow, and that lightest part which surrounds the darkest part is called penumbra. You can see here condition are there here. You can just see these things. Okay, this is the darkest part, so this is umbra, and this is the lightest part of the shadow is penumbra. Okay, so today in this session we are going to discuss about the eclipse. Eclipse are natural phenomena, we know that carefully. So what are the main causes behind this? What is the main reason behind this to occur? The main reason behind the eclipse to occur is that Earth, Moon, and Sun, all three comes in the straight line. Okay. Then what happens ultimately? We know that Sun is fixed at one point, and Earth and the Moon are revolving. Okay, around the Earth is revolving around the Sun, and the Moon is revolving around the just Earth. So all these processes are taking place in nature by our heavenly bodies. So what happens when the Earth, Moon, and Sun are comes in a straight path? Okay, then one condition may happen that when the moon comes in between the Sun and the Earth, what happens? That the shadow, just moon will be in between the Sun and the Earth, so the moon will block all the light rays, okay, of the Sun, and cast a shadow on the Earth. So the shadow of the moon will cast on the Earth. Okay, so this is what we call the solar eclipse. And when the Earth comes in between the just Sun and the Moon, okay, then what we call as the lunar eclipse. So all these condition criteria we are going to discuss today. Okay, so you can see here that what is lunar eclipse here. Okay, what is lunar eclipse? We can see here exactly. So you can see here lunar eclipse. What happens? That due to the movement of Earth and the Moon in their paths, means, okay, the Earth comes in between the Sun and the Moon. The Earth comes in between the Sun and the Moon, and obstruct the light from the sun falling on the moon. Instead of the light hitting the moon's surface, the earth's shadows falls on it, and this causes a lunar eclipse. This thing I have told you, okay, that whenever the earth comes in the middle of the sun and the moon, then the just earth casts a shadow on the moon, and this is called as a lunar eclipse. So this is called as a lunar eclipse. Yani okay, so this is what the lunar eclipse. Okay, we just going to, you can see here the diagram. Okay, diagram of the, this is earth in between the sun and the moon. Okay, so the earth cast a shadow on the moon, so it is what is the lunar eclipse. There are some facts about that. Okay, that is, a lunar eclipse occurs only on a full moon. Lunar eclipse occurs only on a full moon. Means lunar eclipse only happens when the full moon is there. Okay, a lunar eclipse can be seen from the earth at night. So lunar eclipse happens at the night. These are the fact about the lunar eclipse. And if you talk about lunar eclipse, there are two kinds of lunar eclipses are there. One is a total lunar eclipse and the partial lunar eclipse. What about the total lunar eclipse? Okay, this condition here comes out. Okay, what is the umbra and what is the penumbra? And this is if the moon lies in the umbra of the earth's surface, means moon, it is obvious. Okay, it is obvious that when the earth comes in the middle of the earth and the just sun and the moon, so what happens, the image of the, or we can say that the shadow of the earth just falls on the moon, and this is what we call the lunar eclipse. But ultimately there are two shadows are formed at the same time. One is the darkest part of the shadow and one is the lighter part, okay, rather than the darkest one. Okay, that is also a region surrounding the darkest part of the shadow. So the darkest one is the umbra and the just lighter shadow is penumbra. So if the moon lies in the umbra of the earth's surface, then this is called total or lunar eclipse occurs, full lunar eclipse occurs. And if moon lies in the penumbra of the earth's surface, then a partial lunar eclipse happens. Okay, lunar eclipse usually lasts for a few hours, only a few hours we can see it. Okay, last for a few hours, कुछ ही घंटों में खत्म हो जाता है. ठीक है, at least 2 partial lunar eclipses happens every year, but total lunar eclipses are rare. Means at least 2 partial lunar eclipse happens every year. ठीक है, तो ये हम लोग देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे कि 2 partial lunar eclipses है ना, 2 partial lunar eclipse होते हैं हर वर्ष, लेकिन टोटल लूनर इक्लिप्स आर रेयर, बहुत रेयर होता है, बहुत कम दिखाई पड़ता है. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कि सोलर इक्लिप्स कह सकते हैं कि सन, मून और अर्थ, ये तो हम लोग सबको पता है कि सन, मून एंड अर्थ कम्स इन ए स्ट्रेट लाइन. ओके, बट देयर आर 3 kinds of solar eclipses. One is a partial solar eclipse, total solar eclipse, and an annular solar eclipse. Partial solar eclipse, okay, total solar eclipse and annular solar eclipse. There's a huge difference between them. Just see here. We will discuss one by one. Okay. Now, when the sun, moon and the earth are not exactly in a line, and this condition also occurs, that exactly, that what is exactly, that is when the sun, moon and the earth are not exactly in the same line, a partial lunar eclipse happens. The part of the earth that lies in penumbra of the moon experiences partial. Means when moon, sun and earth are not exact, they are straight but not in exactly in a line, exactly. So what happens at that time? A partial lunar eclipse happens. Why? Because the earth that lies in the penumbra of the moon experiences, means the part of the earth that lies in the penumbra of the moon, because what happens, that moon is comes in between the sun and the earth. So what the shadow of the moon just cast a shadow on the earth. So whatever the shadow, okay, lies in the penumbra means partial shadow, okay, that is not dark, that is not darkest part of the shadow, this is partial. So this is what we call the partial solar eclipse. This is partial solar eclipse. Okay, total solar eclipse happens when sun, moon and are exactly in the same line completely. Okay, so this is total solar eclipse. And one condition, last one, is the annular solar eclipse. So an annular solar eclipse happens when the moon is farthest from the earth. It is very just process is there. An annular solar eclipse happens when the moon is farthest from the earth and seems smaller from the earth. ओके, जो मून होगा वो अर्थ से काफ़ी दूरी पे होगा, है ना, ठीक है, और दिखाई भी देगा, है ना, ठीक है, और वो छोटा दिखाई देगा फ्रॉम द अर्थ, काफ़ी दूरी पे होगा अर्थ से, अर्थ की तुलना में अर्थ से काफ़ी दूरी पे होगा, ठीक है, और अर्थ से काफ़ी छोटा दिखेगा भी, है ना। तो इस केस में क्या होता है ना, पूरा जो सन का लाइट है पूरे सन को ब्लॉक नहीं कर पाता, है ना। जब ब्लॉक नहीं करेगा तो क्या होगा, ठीक है, तो एंटायर व्यू ऑफ द सन एंड, और इस तरीके से जब ब्लॉक नहीं कर पाता तो एक डार्क डिस्क की तरह, है ना, जिसके ऊपर ऑरेंज कलर्ड डिस्क टाइप का वो दिखता है ना, उसी को कहते हैं रिंग ऑफ फायर। और इसी को कहता है एनुलस ना, वो कैसा दिखता है, एक रिंग ऑफ फायर की तरह दिखता है, एंड दैट बिहेव्स लाइक अ रिंग ऑफ फायर और एनुलस। ओके, सो दिस इज अ एनुलर सोलर इक्लिप्स। ओके, सो दिस इज व्हाट द कंडीशन हियर। So it is obvious that the moon casts two shadows during solar eclipse. Okay, जो मून है वो दो शेडोज कास्ट करता है ना ड्यूरिंग सोलर इक्लिप्स। सो सोलर इक्लिप्स में पीपल, जो लोग हैं पेनाम्बरा पे जो स्टैंड होते हैं वो पार्शियल इक्लिप्स देखते हैं, और जो स्टैंडिंग इन द आम्ब्रा पे जो देखते हैं रहते हैं वो टोटल इक्लिप्स देखते हैं, ठीक है। A solar eclipse happens once every 18 months. Solar eclipse happens once every 18 months, यानी 18 महीने पे एक बार सोलर इक्लिप्स देखा जा सकता है, ठीक है। वो भी कुछ मिनट के लिए, है ना, वो भी कुछ मिनट के लिए, यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कुछ मिनट के लिए, ठीक है। और एक वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट प्रिकॉशन इज ऑल्सो हेयर दैट हमें सोलर इक्लिप्स को अपनी नेकेड आई से नहीं देखना चाहिए, बिकॉज इट कैन डैमेज आवर आइजेस। ओके, परमानेंटली हमेशा के लिए डैमेज कर सकता है, ठीक है। सो डियर स्टूडेंट, अप टू वी हैव जस्ट एंडेड द चैप्टर एंड फर्दर वी आर गोइंग टू जस्ट डू द एक्सरसाइज, सो वॉच द वीडियो। थैंक यू।